that history too historical writing is constructed, and that we have to look at it as a constructed object.
No
so
doubt.
I think
No doubt.
I think it's important to keep that in mind no matter what history
No doubt.
we're looking
No
at.
doubt.
Sure.
But this is something
Yeah.
different. I think a child's involvement with history on all levels allows for an unashamed involvement with the imagination as well. A historian who writes history can allow for the style, for the imaginary aspect of the presentation of events to enter into the narrative, but not in the same way that the child's involvement with history will allow for the child to assimilate history and then reproduce it.
Well, let me try to relate it back to something I was able to read you today. I mean, in terms of those parachutists, I actually went to Thebes with my cousin, and we found some men who looked like they might be the right age, and we asked them if they were in Thebes at the time that the Germans invaded, and they had been, and we asked them about these parachutists, and they said, oh, no, there were no parachutists. He said, but they immediately added something, and they said when the Germans dropped the Stuka bombs, when the bombs were dropped on Thebes, the earth jumped up as if it were alive, and so there were things in the air, you know. And my father presumably, and he said to me, not in the two passages I read to you, but another time when he was talking about Thebes, he said that he was in a bus and that he saw these parachutists from the bus. And it seems to me incredibly possible that there was some aerial something or other going on when he was there. In other words, that the bombs were coming down and the earth was going up. And that's not to say that seeing a bomb drop is the same thing as seeing a parachutist hit the ground, but I do believe very strongly that the narrative truth of what my dad said to me with those stories is that he saw something very, very frightening that represented the outside, the enemy coming into his world and threatening his life.
For sure.
And so the fact that he calls that parachutist is a little bit irrelevant. The emotional quality of what he experienced, I think, was correctly communicated by that story.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Relate a little bit to what you're trying
That's
to say?
certainly. This is exactly what I was going to say.
Great.
That the assimilation is so total, especially in children, when there is a threat, when there is a particular threat. The involvement with history is immediate and threatening. And so the assimilation of the events is so total and complete on so many levels that the reproduction of these certainly it's absolute, complete, and honest.
Great. So let me share with you something much more dramatic. I'm hoping a few of you will be motivated to buy the book, not for my sake, but for the sake of this wonderful bookstore that we can keep going. But I'll tell you